the male and the female reproductive organs through which the seed can be formed. After fertilization, the seed can be formed. Now this flower is modified shoot. It is a modified stem in which the reproductive parts are present, and this is responsible for the survival of the species of the plant, because this plant is able to take up the reproduction in the male and the female part, through which the flower is formed, the fruit is formed, and from the fruit it is having the seed inside, the next future plant is seen. Now for the parts of the flower, let's come with the diagram. Now for the flower, the stalk by which the flower is attached to the main stem of the plant is called as pedicel. Pedicel is the stalk by which the flower is attached to the stem of the plant. If the flower is having the pedicel, we call this as a pedicellate flower. But if the pedicel is absent, we call that as a sessile flower. Now we talk about the parts. All the parts of the flower are present on the swollen structure called as thalamus. So this thalamus is the base of the flower. It is a cup-shaped structure, expanded, swollen part called as thalamus or receptacle. On this, all the four whorls of the flower are present. The very first and the outermost is called as calyx. Calyx or sepal. One is called as sepal. Collective of all the sepals is called as calyx. Now this calyx is the outermost green part of the plant, which is responsible for photosynthesis. Very first, it is able to protect the flower in the bud condition, and second, as it is green in structure, it is able to perform photosynthesis for the flower. Second, we talk about the next part, that is the brightly colored is the petals. Single is petal, and the collection of all the petals is called as corolla. Now this corolla is brightly colored structure. Now this brightly colored leaf-like structures are responsible to attract the insects for pollination. And second, at their base, they have swollen glands called as nectaries. They have a sweet nectar in which is serving as the food for the insects. Third, we talk about the male reproductive part. This male reproductive part, single is called as stamen. Collection of all the stamens is called as androecium. And the symbol of the male reproductive part is like this. Yes, now we say that this stamen is having two parts, anther and filament. Filament is a long stalk-like structure to which this two bilobed, bi means two lobes of the sacs are attached. Now this anther is having the pollen grains inside, which is the yellow powder. If you touch these anthers, a yellow powder will be present on your tips of fingers. That yellow powder is the pollen grains. Now we talk about the female reproductive part. It can be called as carpel or pistil, and the collection of carpels and pistils is called as gynoecium. The symbol for the female reproductive part is as such. Now this is centrally located. It is present in the center of the flower, and this is the innermost part. Now this innermost part is called as the gynoecium or the pistil. Now one pistil is called as, it is having three parts. That is stigma, style and ovary. Stigma is a knob-like structure which is sticky in nature due to it can take up the pollen grains from the air. Then is the style. It is long stalk-like structure which is attaching the stigma to the base swollen part called as ovary. Ovary is a swollen part which is having ovules inside. Yes, so we say that each carpel is made up of stigma, style and ovary is having the ovules. Now we talk about the complete flowers. Complete flowers are those which are having all the four whorls: calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. If all the four whorls are present, we call that as complete. But if any one or more than one whorl is absent, we call that as incomplete flower. It can be incomplete, it can be imperfect flower. Now this imperfect flower, we say a flower which is having both the reproductive parts, the stamens and the carpel, is called as essential whorls of the flower. The essential parts of the flower are androecium and gynoecium. Both are present. If both are present, we say these are essential parts. And the first two, calyx and corolla, these are non-essential parts of a flower in which they are just helping in reproduction. These androecium and gynoecium are taking up reproduction, and they help in reproduction, and they are called as non-essential parts of a flower. Now if these sepals and petals are not differentiated, we call that as a perianth. If sepals and petals are not differentiated, because differentiation is by the color. This is sepals is green and petals is brightly colored. But if both are of a same color, we say that they are not differentiated, then the condition is called as a perianth. Yes, now this perianth is, we say, this perianth if it is green in color. Yes, we say it is a sepaloid perianth. But if the perianth is colored as that of petals, we call that as a petaloid perianth. This petaloid perianth is present in salvia. Clear? Perianth if the sepals and petals are not differentiated. If both are green colored, we call that as a sepaloid perianth. If both are brightly colored, we call that as a petaloid perianth. And petaloid perianth is present in a salvia flower. Yes. Now we talk about the bracts. Bracts are when the flower is arising in the axil of a leaf-like structure, it is called as a bract. Now bracts can be green, but sometimes they are very brightly colored, as in case of bougainvillea. Bougainvillea you all have seen, yes. And this bougainvillea is that brightly colored structures, the leaf-like structures which we mistake that as a petal is actually the bracts. Actual flower is those very small stalk-like structures in the center, white colored. Yes. Then we come to nectaries. Nectaries are because the flower is attracting the insect for pollination and it is having the food for the insect. That food is called as the nectar. So that nectar is present at the base of petals. Now this base of petals sometimes in some flowers as the Gardnerostorium. Yes. Now we see the Gardnerostorium. This is the Gardnerostorium. This nectary is present very prominent in this flower. And this is having the nectar through which the insect will come and take up, and the body of the insect is serving as a platform for the pollination. Thank you.